Hey, good morning, everybody. Time for another edition of Tropics Talk. Meteorologist Jim Dickey back with you here. Of course, overnight, Bill fell apart. No longer a tropical low, now post-tropical, extra-tropical, whatever you want to call it. The NHC is no longer doing updates on that low as it's moving northward, has lost its tropical characteristics, merging with a cold front. So, yeah, as expected, Bill, a short-lived named storm that is now off the board once again. So we turn our attention back to the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, note, too, if you were watching us over the past couple of days, we were talking about the tropical wave off the coast of Africa. When it moved off the coast on Monday, it looked robust. It looked like it was well on its way to becoming potentially a tropical depression. You can't even make it out on the satellite presentation any longer. So no further issues from that. That little swirl there in the central Atlantic, a non-tropical low. No worries there. So again, we turn our attention to the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche, where there's still not much to see as of this morning. Thunderstorm activity going strong from really the coast of Florida all the way back into southern Mexico right now. You can make out a little bit of a swirling on the satellite presentation, but no general organization right now. No signs that this is going to be coming together anytime soon. As we switch over, though, and look at the surface pressure and the winds, you can make out the turning going on in the central and southern Gulf of Mexico. Winds come out of the Caribbean, go across the Yucatan, and then dive southward, feeling that broad low pressure centered right along Mexico's coastline. That's a big part of the reason why nothing has been able to get going just yet. This has been kept right along the coast. Once it moves out into the waters, though, over the next 24 hours, that's when this will have the chance to come together, close itself off, perhaps become a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Yeah, it's been blocked of late. So the pattern has been sort of blocked up. There's your stalled front over northern Florida. Blue marks high pressure, and generally speaking, when you have high pressure in the way of one of these developing tropical systems, acts as a block. Well, all that blue over Texas, that area of high pressure, is going to be backing off, and now this will start to get a kick out of the south as the Atlantic high begins to ridge back in across the state of Florida and into the Gulf of Mexico. By the time we get to tomorrow evening, now you have that high pressure to the north more or less gone. You're getting that southeasterly kick of the winds off to the east of the low, and now it starts to emerge its way northward. It starts to leak north into the Gulf of Mexico, continues some strong southerly winds on its eastern side going on into the weekend. That's going to force it onshore. Also of note, just in this model alone, just in this view alone, and those arrows mark the 500 millibar winds, you have your strong east-southeasterlies on the western end of that high pressure area, and then you have your low pressure area, your perhaps depression moving towards the coast of Texas on this model, in between that corridor, where all of that air is being forced together, and that's loaded with tropical moisture. You know from this alone that this is likely to be quite a rainmaker as that moves in. Now the question is, what are we looking at intensity-wise? There was some strong wind shear over the southern Gulf yesterday. That has sort of backed off a little bit, so it is looking like this may have a pocket of lower wind shear. Of course, the water is definitely warm enough that this could, again, spin up into at least a depression, not a tropical storm. The Hurricane Center says there's a high chance of that now. They've been at 90% chance this is at least a depression over the past couple of days. But the models are really having a tough time latching onto this. In fact, many of the tropical models don't even pick up on this low coming together. This is from Tropical Tidbits. And this does show borderline tropical storm force winds. So, maybe we could have a tropical depression, weak tropical or subtropical storm as it moves onshore. I do think, bottom line, at this point, nothing really to point to. This is going to be much of a wind threat. This is going to be a rain event, but in some cases, a heavy rain event. This is a reminder, you don't need a strong tropical storm or hurricane. You don't need the winds to have a high-impact event, as there's going to be some significant rain going into the weekend. So there we are on Friday. This is the GFS forecast model. You have your closed-off swirling low-pressure area, maybe a depression by Friday morning, maybe even a tropical storm headed towards the coast. Still stays pretty broad on this. The circulation does anyway on the GFS forecast model, but you still have that corridor of heavy rain. Again, think about where all that air was being piled up on the eastern side of the low pressure area, focusing that corridor of heavy rain over Louisiana, portions of Mississippi and Alabama, and that rain does continue to pour down all the way into the weekend. We've lost a lot of definition in that low pressure area by Saturday as this moves onshore, but it's still going to be kicking up that rainfall going forward between the low pressure and the high pressure off to the east, and that rain spreads into parts of the Tennessee Valley going into Sunday and Monday. So what does that look like rain totals wise? This says through Friday, but it's actually into the weekend in particular. And this is that same GFS model showing 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, spots like New Orleans, southern Mississippi, parts of Alabama. The heaviest of the rain is going to stay east of Texas, I think, but in the lower Mississippi Valley, somebody is going to pick up 6+ inches of rain, and flooding is going to be a concern then. So again, it's a reminder, even a weak tropical system can put down significant rainfall, and inland flooding is always something to think about when it comes to a tropical low, a tropical cyclone impacting land. Beyond this, good news is it looks like next week, much quieter. Some models pinpointing perhaps we watch the South Caribbean Sea, but I think it's overblown. That area you see of higher probabilities off the East Coast is actually the models picking up on what's left of this low pressure area in the Gulf of Mexico now moving off the East Coast. Perhaps another chance as it moves over the Gulf Stream to re-intensify, but otherwise looking like we settle back down at least a little bit in the Atlantic next week, which would carry us into the final week of June. Hopefully we get through the rest of the month of June without any additional named storms popping up there out in the Atlantic. But of course, we'll be watching things closely. So takeaways here for today. Yes, Bill is gone. Now we switch our attention back to the Gulf of Mexico, where a depression is likely to form in the next day or two. It drifts northward. The main impact, regardless of any development, is going to be heavy rainfall, which looks more or less locked in at this point. Parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. That's where the heaviest of the rain is going to be focused. More than 6 inches of rain possible in some spots, leading to some flooding. And, of course, no threats to southwest Florida from any of this right now. And as we looked out in the longer range, no additional threats anytime soon either. Of course, we'll be watching this thing closely over the next couple days. We'll keep you updated on if and when this is named a depression or a tropical storm. The next name on the list would be Claudette. So we'll keep you updated on that. Coming up tonight, ABC 7 News, 6, 7, 11. Chief Meteorologist John Patrick will have a full update on everything going on out there in the Gulf of Mexico. That's it for now. Meteorologist Jim Dickey. We'll see you next time.